Next up, we've got Kevin Holais, I think is how you pronounce it.
Kevin
Um,
Coley's.
Something like that. He asks, any memories of Ric Flair? What are your best Ric Flair memories?
Uh, Rick Flair still has me on about having a party. I was working for NWA in 1980. I'd come into North America and that, and I worked across Canada in the 70s, and in the late 70s, I was living in Hawaii, working in Hawaii. Then I came into Don Owens territory, Northwest Championships of Wrestling, did a year and a half, and came straight down to Crockett's. That's when they just finished the big angle in the late 70s, where Blackjack had turned babyface against Ric Flair, and Rick became a heel. He still hadn't won the belt yet, and it was wild. Anyhow, we're at a party at his home one night, and his wife wasn't there; she was away. But I never went to the bedroom. But someone had put a pair of woman's panties under the pillow, her pillow in their bedroom. They didn't know what pillow was, but it was her pillow. And
Oh
he
no.
always accused me to this day of putting those panties under her pillow when she got home. He had to explain that.
So it wasn't you, just for
I
the
didn't know
record.
whether they were used panties or not. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's still. And no, I've known Rick since then. We flew down to New Zealand together on a card when he worked with High Chief Peter Maivia, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's grandfather.
Yeah.
And I worked against The Rock's father on that same card. Me and Bush flew down for that, and we worked against one card. We worked against Ric Flair and Rick Martel. No,
Wow.
we worked against Rick Martel and Rocky Johnson.
That's a good
Rocky
pair.
was living. Rocky was living in New Zealand then. He was there for 6 months, and The Rock was only 7 years old then.
So you were around The Rock when he was very young, huh?
Yeah, because Peter had a home in New Zealand. I worked against Peter in the 60s in New Zealand and in Australia for Tim Barnett in Australia, and of course for Steve Rickard. Steve Rickard trained, trained Peter Maivia in the early 60s, in 61,
Wow.
62. That's the year that I trained, but I was with another company. I was with Al Hoban then.
You've got an awful lot of history all across the world. So many different
Yeah,
promotions too.
working with Peter there. I got a few stories with Peter too. When his
Yeah.
wife arrived without knowing, Peter was a playboy, a good-looking guy, charisma running out of his ass. He has super charisma in the ring. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's back in the 60s, mate.
So Peter did pretty okay with the ladies over there in New Zealand.
Everywhere in the world. His wife used to arrive unexpected. He thought she was in San Francisco, and she used to arrive in Australia and New Zealand just to make sure he was on the straight and narrow.
And then she became a promoter after he passed.
Yeah. Well, by then she had Peter under the thumb. And the thumb, the Rolling Stones song, Under the Thumb.
That's one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs. Love that one.
Yeah. Why? Has your wife got you that way?
Absolutely. Especially now that I'm wrestling her on the road, she's got to keep an eye on me.
Yeah. Under the thumb.
Predator J.
That's what, hey, mate, by the way,
Yes.
that was one of my favorite rock and roll groups ever, and I went and saw them last year in the Shea Stadium. Or no, they were in Meadowlands. I went and saw them in Meadowlands. Flew up there to see them. Had great seats too.
And they're still pretty good, huh?
Oh, he wasn't running across the stage like he did in the 80s and 90s, but he didn't stop moving. He never stood still on that stage.
He's still getting around. I think he just had a kid not that long ago too, so he's still
Yeah.
acting like he's in
Okay.
his 20s.
Hey, he's just muscle over bones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Paper thin.